Hello, Mary C. Williams friends. This is Miss Britt, and today we are going to be talking about something that is called perimeter. Now, I know that with Miss Caldwell's video that she introduced the topic of perimeter to you, but I wanted to do a couple of problems with you today and get you more familiar with it. So, perimeter is the distance around a shape. It is also sometimes called the border. It's also called the edge. And sometimes people refer to it as the rim because perimeter has the word rim in it. Okay? So, whenever we're trying to figure out the perimeter of a shape, we are always going to use a formula, or it's also known as an algorithm. So say formula, and algorithm. Perfect. This is the formula for perimeter. Perimeter, so this means perimeter, capital P, equals the L stands for length. So length plus another length plus, what do you think that W stands for? Yeah, if the L stands for length, then the W is going to stand for width plus width. Now, we don't want to have to write those words out every single time, so instead we just use P equals L plus W plus W. But those letters mean perimeter equals length plus width plus width. Okay? All right, perfect. So we're going to start with our first example. Our first example is 3 inches tall or 3 inches wide, and then it is 12 inches long. All right, so we have a 3 by 12. And we call it a 3 by 12 because it's 3 inches on one side by 12 inches on the other. So it's a 3 by 12. And we want to figure out the perimeter. So we start with, do we know what the perimeter is? Did it tell us? No. So since it didn't tell us, we keep the P the same. P equals. But do we now know the length? Yeah, we know the length. And it doesn't matter which number you plug in where, as long as you keep it consistent. I always use this one for the length. So here's my length. This is going to be my L. So we know that it is 12 inches long. You have to include your inches, which is your unit of measurement. Your unit of measurement is the inches. So we've got 12 inches long. If this side is 12, what do you know about this side? Since this shape is a rectangle, if this side is 12, what does this side have to be? Perfect. It has to be 12 as well. Because we know the rules of a rectangle, and the rules of a rectangle tell me that whatever this side is, there's a little mark there, is the same as this side. This little symbol means they are equivalent. They are the same exact length. So they're both 12 inches. So we have 12 plus 12 plus, we have 3 inches here and 3 inches here. Now I can't use one line anymore because one line is what I use for this side, so I have to use 2 lines here. These little symbols just mean that wherever you have 2 of the same symbols, that means they're the same length or the same distance long as one another. So this is 3 inches as well as this is 3 inches, and this little symbol just means that they are equivalent. They have the same length. So we have 12 inches plus 12 inches, and I'm running out of room over here, so I'm going to slide over a little bit. plus 3 inches and 3 inches. Now, my mathematical mind tells me that I should combine like numbers first. So that's what I'm going to do. So the next step is combining the two numbers that are the same. 12 plus 12 is, perfect, 24 inches, plus 3 plus 3 is, perfect, 6 inches. And then the very last step is your final answer. 24 inches plus 6 inches is, perfect, 30 inches. Now with perimeter, you're only writing inches. So I know that when Miss Caldwell talked to you yesterday, she talked about something called area. And I'm gonna do a problem at the end of this that has to do with area. But for perimeter, you just end in the measurement. Now I'm gonna take a minute and show you why this shape is 30 inches. So let me get rid of some of these extra things. So we've done our measurement. It was a 3 by 12. This 3 simply means that there are 3 rows. I know Ms. Caldwell talked to you about that word as well. 3 rows. This 12 across the top means there are 12 columns. There are 12 columns. So 12 is an even number, so I'm going to try and find the middle first. Okay? And then 6 plus 6 is 12, so 6 is an even number. I'm going to cut it in the middle. And then I need 3, 6, 9, 12. I need 3 in each, 3 columns in each section. 1, 1, 2, 3. I'm doing this quickly and I'm just doing the best that I can. I'm trying to keep it as even as possible because it should be. Just going to add a little bit of space here. So if I was doing the area of this shape, I would be concerned with all of the squares on the inside. But I'm not doing area, I'm doing perimeter. But when I'm doing perimeter, I can always use this formula. But last year when you talked about perimeter in 3rd grade, a lot of you were taught to do it like this. Just slide these over out of my way. A lot of you were taught to do it like this. Pick a spot and start there. And then you count from dot to dot. So pretend that every place where 2 lines meet is a dot. And then you count dot to dot. Let me pull you guys a little closer so you can see. And also use blue. This is better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You see how I get a measurement of 12? That's how that ended up being 12. Now I just go along the whole thing until I've counted them all. So that was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And that's how I got my measurement of 30. So this is what you did last year. This year, we're going to start using what's called a formula. So I just wanted to share that with you and make that connection for you from last year. Okay? Keep on rolling. Let's do another example. I'm going to leave my formula there because you always use the formula. It makes it easier than having to draw all these lines and then count the spaces along the outside. Because if we're doing the perimeter of something, then we only want to know the distance around it. We only want to know this, the distance around a shape or the border of it. This stuff right here around my whiteboard, this is called a border. And the reason why I put this here was so I would know the exact amount of space that I would have to use on my camera so where you guys could actually see. So I put a little border up so that it made it easier for me. This is the perimeter or the edge of the space that I have to complete my work. All right, let's do another one. Keep my formula. This time, I'm going to do the best I can. What shape is this? Perfect. It's a square. What do we know about a square? What are the rules of a square? Yes, all sides are equal. Good. So rule of a square. This side is equal to this side, and it's equal to this side, and it's equal to this side. So all sides equal. What else do we know? Perfect. We know that we have 4 right angles, right? What else do we know? Nice. We know that since all sides are equal, that whatever this one is, and this one just so happens to be 5 feet, if that's 5 feet, what do we know about all the other sides? Yeah, they're all 5 feet. Sorry. And my stuff is getting, all right. So when I'm dealing with a square, I'm going to be using the same exact number. So if they only give me one number and you see these little lines right here, it means that it's a square and all sides are equal. So I'm going to come over here to my formula and I'm going to plug it in. Perimeter equals length. My length is 5. Plus my other length is 5. Plus, well, guess what? It's a square. So I'm going to be doing 5 again for the width, plus 5 again for my other width. Now, sometimes you will see me mark it out. I use both of my 5s for my lengths. I use both of my 5s for my widths. Now I'm ready to solve. Perimeter equals 5 plus 5 is 10 feet, plus 5 plus 5 is 10 feet. Perimeter equals 10 plus 10 is 20 feet. Now you guys are some smart kids. So what other way could I have solved that? Yeah, I could have just counted by 5s because I know there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So since there are 4 5s, I could have just said 4 times 5 is 20 and got my final answer. All right, my friends, let's do another one. Keep the formula. So I'm going to keep the formula or the algorithm because it works every single time. All right. We've got a 6 by, no, we've got a, let's do it like this. We've got a 14 by 6. A 14 foot by 6 foot. A 14 by 6. So this time I'm going to be, this is a tall shape, so this time I'm just going to be plugging in my numbers, but now it is this tall, so it's that wide. So my perimeter is 6 foot. This one equals which other side? Yep, down there. So my length is 6 foot plus 6 foot plus my width. Those two are equivalent. So if this one is 14, then this one is 14. If that one was 6, then this one was 6. So 14 and 14. All right. Now what do? Next step. Perfect. I rewrite my P. Perimeter equals 6 foot plus 6 foot. I combine my like numbers. What's 6 plus 6? Perfect. 12 foot plus 14 plus 14. If you can't do that in your head, then find a space to quickly add them off to the side of your paper. Perfect. 28. Now we have perimeter equals 12 foot plus 28 feet. Perimeter equals, in my mind, whenever I do this in my head, I like to go 28, and I like to break this up into 10 and 2 in my head. So 28 plus 2 is 30, plus 10 more is 40. If you can't do that in your head, then again, you would just set it up, and you would add the 2 plus the 8, and then 1, 1, and 2 is 40. All right, my friends, last one. I'm about to do the last one. Keep our formula. This time I'm going to do the area and the perimeter. Whoops. I just said keep the formula, and I ended up erasing it anyway. Length plus width plus width. All right, last one. We have a 7-inch by 9-inch. You have to include the units of measurement. That means you have to tell me what the shape is being measured in. This is being measured in inches, so I have to include that unit of measurement. So we have a 7 by 9. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the perimeter first. Perimeter equals length. If this one is 9, then which other one is 9? Perfect. The one right below it. If this one is 7, then this one is, love it, 7. Perfect. All right, so my length is 9. I've got 9 inches plus 9 inches plus my width is 7. 7 inches plus 7 inches. Do you see how I keep putting my unit of measurement? You are expected to do that. If you do not do it, you lose a point. So make sure you've got those units of measurement. Perimeter equals, combine like numbers. 9 inches plus 9 inches is 18 inches. 7 inches plus 7 inches is 14 inches. Now what's left? Perfect, combine it. If you can't do that in your head, where should you do it? Off on the side of your paper. 8 plus 4 is, love it. Hopefully your extra math is helping you, and I can tell you that we know who's doing it and who's not. So make sure you're doing that extra math because it helps you quickly solve things like this in your head. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is perfect, 32. Now, it's 32 what? Perfect. Make sure you have inches, because if not, it is wrong. All right, so there's my perimeter. Miss Caldwell talked to you about doing something called area. So there is another formula for area, and I'm going to have to make my shape smaller so that I can fit it. So we had 7 inches and 9 inches. Now the formula for area equals length times width. Now a moment ago, I told you that if this was 9, then this is 9. If this is 7, then this is 7. But when it comes to area, you only have to use 2 numbers. Okay, for each square or each rectangle, whatever the shape is, you only have to use 2. So area equals length times width. Means the same thing as this L and this W, but in area, we're multiplying because we want to know how many squares are inside of this shape. So remember, this is like saying that there are 7 rows. And this is like saying there are 9 columns. So first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I always count, make sure I'm right. 7 rows and then 9 columns. Neither one of these are even numbers, so I can't cut it in the middle. So I need 5 and 4. It's not perfect, but it'll do. So when I'm doing the area, I want to know how many total squares there are in this shape. I do not want to have to sit here and count every one of those itty bitty squares, but I am looking for how many there are in the middle. So what I have to do is I have to multiply these 2 numbers. It does not matter which order you put them in as long as you have length and width there. So area equals, since I've been calling this length, it's still going to be length because it's length over here. It is 9 inches times 7 inches. What is 9 times 7? Yes, 63 inches, but this time you have to put something that's called square. It's a little 2. So you have to put that little 2 up there. Let me get a little closer so you can see it. You have to put this little 2 right here to say that it is 63 inches square. Or you have the option of writing it as, or you could say 63 square inches. Well, you don't have to put the whole word. Or you could write it 3 ways. 63 inches square. So however you want to write it, I always choose to write it with the little 2, but if you're completing your work on Google Docs or on Google PowerPoint on slides, you can't do that. So you're going to have to remember to include square and then inches, or write it out, 63 inches square. It's completely up to you. So tomorrow, Miss Caldwell is going to be working with you on more area problems, and then on Friday I will be working with you reviewing both. So remember, perimeter is when we are only worried about the exterior, so the border, the edge. We're only adding up the outside part. We're only adding. We only care about the outside. But when we're doing area, we worry about how many squares there are in the whole thing, and we are multiplying. All right, my friends, I hope this video was helpful. Please ask us any questions. Remember to try and complete all of your work by Friday because we're not available on the weekends to help you. Thanks so much. Hey friends, I almost forgot to tell you about your own work. So this is your example page, and it is just showing you that you are going to be expected to fill in what the other sides are equivalent to. And then you will have the formula on each page already written for you, but you need to fill in just like all of my examples that I've done, and you need to combine the like numbers and then get your final answer. You have to write your answers with the unit of measurement. So your very first problem, this page is worth 5 points. This tells you on the beginning, on the very first page, that each slide is going to be worth 5 points. You have 20 points here. 1 point if you get the first part right. 1 point for this part, 1 point for this part. So you have 3 P equals here, and you have to fill them out just like we've been doing. And then 4 and 5. Make sure that you change the question marks. All right, my friends, so that is your work on Google Slides this week.